I'd like to start by introducing myself. My name's Tim Fisher and I'm principal here at Queen Elizabeth Sixth Form College. I'm not on my own this afternoon though. I have with me Laurence Job, who is our deputy principal. And I don't know if Laurence wants to say hello or wave or something.
Hello everyone, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us.
Okay, thanks, Laurence. The purpose of this session today really it's a question and answer session primarily. So it's important that you know how you will be able to ask questions. So I'm sure you're all really quite used to using things like Zoom these days, but if you move your cursor around on the screen, you'll see down at the bottom there's a bar with various buttons on there, and one of those buttons is the question and answer Q&A button. If you click on that, you can then type in any question that you like. You can do that immediately. You can start doing that now. Alternatively, obviously as we talk, things may occur to you, and you're quite welcome to ask questions at any point in time. Altogether, the session should last about 25 minutes, and we do have subsequent sessions as well. So if you've not had enough of us, you can, of course, come back to later sessions too, if you'd really like to. Of course, normally by now, you would have had an opportunity to come into the college and see the place for real, and that would be a fantastic chance to meet us, to meet the staff here, to meet current students, and to really get a feel for the place. But obviously that's not possible, or hasn't been possible so far this year. However, at the end of the session, Laurence will be telling you about some opportunities that are coming up that will give you a chance to come in for real, visit the college, have a look around. So I recommend that you try to do that, because there's nothing quite like visiting a place to really begin to understand it. In a normal year, you would have probably been in already, probably around sort of October, November time, when we have our open evenings. And what normally happens then is I would give a talk about the college, usually in the college hall, which is one of the Victorian parts of the building. And you'd get a sense of what this fantastic campus is like. It's full of kind of state-of-the-art modern buildings, but all behind a Victorian sort of facade. And those Victorian buildings are actually really important to us, because they remind us of the history of QE and the tradition, and it's a great tradition of success. So if you do choose to come to QE, what you're really choosing to do is to join a story of success, a tradition of young people doing tremendous things that goes back centuries. So we're very proud of that, but we also think it's something that should inspire the current generation, because the things our students go on to do are quite incredible, really. And it's a real privilege. I know Laurence feels the same way, a real privilege to work here with so many fantastic young people. An important part of their success, obviously, is our results and the kind of results that we get. The achievements of the students are incredible. We compete with anybody on a national scale, not just in terms of raw results, but also in terms of the value-added results that we get. That measures the progress that students make from their starting point when joining the college. But it's not all about results here. It's also about absolutely about the experience, and the young people that come here should have a great time. They should enjoy themselves, and we know that they do, because we survey them every year. And it's not surprising, because we have trips and visits and clubs and societies. We have sport and music, you name it. Volunteering. In fact, we've just been nominated, shortlisted in fact, for a national award in relation to our work with the community. So it's a fantastic place to be, and of course it provides students with a great opportunity to go on to do great stuff in the future. You can find out more about that obviously on our website, and take that opportunity to come into the college if you can do. But I think I've said enough now, because I can already see a number of questions coming in. Laurence today is going to act as the sort of, I don't know what to call you, the question master.
Oh, that's good.
Not a quiz master, but something like that. So if I hand over to you, Laurence, and you could perhaps start to work through the questions, and we'll try to answer them for you.
Thank you. Thank you for the questions already. Please do keep them coming. There's a few questions on a similar theme. So thank you to Matthew and to Lou and Michael about choosing subjects and the sort of deadline for choosing subjects, and whether they can change the subjects that you might have put down in your application. That's absolutely fine. So basically what happens, when you apply to the college, and you can apply online via a website, We will then get in touch with you and have a conversation, an informal chat about the subjects you're interested in taking with us. But you don't actually make your choices about subjects until after your GCSE results come out. And then when you come to us for enrolment, and we again have an individual conversation with you. So to match really the subjects to your aspirations and to where you feel your strengths are. So it's absolutely fine at the moment to be changing your mind about subjects. And of course, over the next few weeks and months, as Tim said, we want to give you as many opportunities as possible so that you can find out about what the subjects are right for you. So there is an awful lot on the website. So on the website, there is an area dedicated to new students. And in there, you'll be able to go on courses and you can find out a lot of information. There's some brilliant websites. Each of our courses have done their own website for you with lots of interactive things on there and course leaflets. So please do explain it. But you can change your mind about subjects, so please don't worry about that. One of the other questions was about bridging. So Tim did mention, so I'll deal with that now. We hope that to have our usual bridging experience at the college. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it's a fantastic opportunity. Students always love bridging, even when they're students with us and they come back, they always remember bridging very fondly because it's the first time you get to actually experience what life is like as a QE student. So you come in, you choose some subjects to have taster lessons, and you experience the culture of the place really and the atmosphere. So we hope, all being well, obviously with COVID, we hope to run that. And those dates are on the 28th to the 30th of June. And again, we'll be inviting you shortly to bridging. The best thing is, please, if you haven't applied, maybe put an application in online. Doesn't commit you to anything, but it does mean then that we have your details so we can invite you to things like bridging. So thank you for that. Tim, a question here about type of trips. So maybe you want to kind of talk a little bit about the fantastic trips I know departments put on in normal times.
Yeah, sure. I mean, there are all sorts of trips and visits. Now, very often, exactly where a trip or a visit goes, of course, depends on the nature of a given subject. But quite understandably, our subject teams are often very keen to work on the principle that education doesn't just happen in a classroom, it actually happens out in the real world. So they'll take people, great distances sometimes. I mean, this is obviously prior to the kind of difficulties that we've had over the last year or so. But just before the first lockdown, we had trips out as far afield as places like New York. I think that was media students going out and looking at the media industry over in the States. I think behind me I've got a photograph there of, I'm guessing that's geology students in the Alps. So the geology students would regularly go out there. That's not a skiing trip. The geologists like to go out and look at rocks and things and climb up Alps. So they do that sort of thing. So there's some really exciting trips of that sort. But there's also some really interesting sort of short trips and trips during the college day. That could be anything from a theatre trip run by the English department through to the kind of geography field trips that are very local sometimes, as well as sometimes taking students further afield. So whichever subjects you choose, it's almost guaranteed that you will have a variety of trips and visits to choose from. And that's all about enriching your experience and understanding that learning isn't just about what you do in the classroom. It really is about getting out there in the real world and learning from that kind of an experience.
Great, thank you. There's a question here from Leah. Thank you, Leah. About the college providing bus passes. So if I could say a little bit about transport. Again, there's a lot of information on the website, but we do have, if you're not aware, we do have our own college buses, which come from a range of routes. I think we've got about 11 services across North Yorkshire, across Teesside, County Durham, and there's a lot of bus services, lots of stops. I'm sure there'll be one near where you are to get you into college. They are just for QE students and they drop off and pick up just outside the college. They're really easy to use. And we do have some college bus passes, but there also is support kind of for transport. So there is some financial support for transport, and there is also some financial support for bursaries and grants as well for any sort of expenses that you might have. I should say that the tuition is all free. It's free to come to college. I know we do sometimes ask if there are fees. There aren't. But there is a range of financial assistance as well if you're eligible. And again, that is on the website in that area designated for new students. So please do have a look there. That would be great. And there is a question about the current situation and obviously about the GCSE exams being cancelled, and a question about if people don't quite maybe do as well as they were anticipating, what then sort of happens. We really do want to reassure you that we are totally mindful of some of the challenges that obviously you've had this year with the pandemic and the disruption to your learning. And saying that, we genuinely believe, we see it in students. We think you've probably developed an awful lot of skills as well as a result of the changes that you've had, the way you've had to work with your lessons and doing maybe online learning. So please, we are absolutely confident that you will have the skills and the experiences to come to us and to be successful, just like all the previous QE students have been, and you will have the same opportunities for progression. And we will make sure that we work incredibly hard with you to enable you to be able to achieve your goals. But if it is the case that you might be a little bit disappointed about grades, again, we will always take into account individual circumstances. We're all about supporting you as an individual and making sure that you achieve, whatever you're wanting to get out of college. So please don't worry. We will take the time to sit down, have conversations with you, and then to discuss what program is right for you and where you're going to be the most successful. So please be reassured that we will work with you as individuals.
Can I just add a little bit to that as well, Laurence? Because I think it's a really important issue at the moment. There's a lot in the press and the media about students having lost things, having lost out on certain things. And it's absolutely true to an extent that of course, students have had this incredibly difficult time like everybody else. But we don't think necessarily just about what's lost. We think about what's been gained as well. And we think about the qualities that young people have shown. The people we've worked with here, our young people have been fantastic. And I know it's the same in schools, and we work really closely with our local schools, and they feel the same. So we have every bit as much ambition for you as we would for any other group of young people. There is nothing that will stop us from working with you and assisting you in making sure that whatever ambitions you have, they become true. So you can rest assured that as far as we're concerned, whilst you might be anxious about potentially something that you maybe feel you didn't do or you might have missed out on in comparison to previous generations, as far as we're concerned, we have no doubt whatsoever that you're every bit as able, as bright, as capable and as ambitious as those past generations. And we can work with you to make sure whatever it is that you want in your life, then, together we can get there. So, please be confident that we will work with you on that.
Thank you. Thanks, Jack. As a question about uniform, if you have to wear uniform, we don't have a uniform. You can come and wear, whatever you like. Really, coming to college, it is about individuality. It's about kind of being who you are, expressing who you are. We're interested in your mind and obviously, your studies and what you bring to the college. And it is all about individuality and treating you as an individual. And, so we really don't mind what you wear, because I'm sure you bring lots of brilliant qualities to the college. So, but thank you for that. There are some questions about subjects and about maybe the maximum amount of subjects that students take. In the main, students take three subjects because largely that is what universities, employers, higher level apprenticeships, providers, that tends to be what they base their entry requirements on. And, students do very well on those sort of three subjects. But again, we do talk to individuals, and often students might, in addition to those three subjects, pick something that you might have heard of called an extended project, which is great. So you might start that in the end of your first year, take that through into your second year. And that works almost for you to choose a particular topic, and it demonstrates wonderful independent skills, independent learning that universities really value, and can actually help to reduce the offer that you might need for university if you do that extended project qualification. So largely three, but there are some discussions that we can again have with individuals about that choice and that study program that you might want to have. Okay. Okay, another sort of question about what is teaching and learning like. So Tim, would you like to answer about the types of teaching and learning that we have?
Yeah, I mean, to some extent, obviously, it would depend upon the particular subject. So some types of learning, some styles of learning suited better to certain subjects. And sometimes the curriculum and the exam that you may be working towards, or the assessment you're working towards, will lend itself better to certain styles. But what all of our teachers do is actually train on a regular basis on what we call pedagogy, the methodology that they use to get you to learn. So there'd be all sorts of activities. Most of our teachers would use a lot of the time very active learning. So it would be about you being involved in discussion or you practically doing things. But also, you know, a big part of what we do here would be you learning about how to learn. This is what we call metacognition. So it's the way in which you learn about yourself as a learner and work out the things that would help you and assist you in learning whatever subjects it is that you've chosen to study. So great deal of variety. Some of it you might be familiar with in terms of techniques that would be used in your life at school. Some of it will be quite different to that, and some of it will be more like the kinds of methods used in a university. So a real variety, great range of different techniques, and lots of opportunity for you to think about how you retain knowledge, how you develop skills, and you to apply those different ways of learning to whatever subjects or whatever task it is that you're dealing with. I should say, by the way, you've probably noticed both of us have moved around in the last couple of minutes. Our lights, we're very kind of aware of the environment here, so our lights turn off if we stop moving. I think we've both just suffered from a lighting failure because of that. So if you're wondering why the lights are going out, don't worry if you live in Darlington. It's not a power cut. It's just one of our little efficiencies in the college. Anyway, sorry, back to you, Laurence.
Thank you. I should say as well about teaching learning, because I know there's some questions about some teachers, and obviously our teachers are one of the real strengths of the college. You know, our teachers are all specialists, not just in their subjects, but also in teaching students of this age group. Because we're a sixth form college, we obviously don't have to worry about younger students and other year groups. So we focus, you know, on the A-level subjects. So as such, the teachers really get to know the specification, really get to know the curriculum, can really refine their teaching and learning methods. And a number of them, a large number of them, are also examiners as well for, you know, the exam board. So they really get to know the kind of little tricks of the trade, if you like, about the ways in which they can support you to get the best possible results in your exam. So they really are expert. They're all passionate about their subject, and you know, they really love working with students of your age to get that sort of enthusiasm across and to support you. Okay, there's a question here, Tim, just about progression. How well do students do regarding progression after QE?
Yeah, fine. I'll take that, Laurence. Yeah, I mean, a huge number of different destinations, but primarily there are three groups of destinations. First of all, there's higher education. So a huge number of our students will go on to university, you know, right across the country. I mean, the kind of breadth of choices that they make are incredible, and this is because they're given loads of support and input in terms of what they can choose to do. So we have full-time career staff here who are experts in higher ed and can really help students make really sensible choices about where to go and really ambitious choices about their universities. And very often, of course, students also these days may choose to study abroad as well. That's an option that some may take. So a great range of universities, and including, of course, the most prestigious universities, Oxford and Cambridge, every year, and other great universities. But the second area that people would sometimes go into would be straight into apprenticeships. And there's some fantastic sort of high-level apprenticeships now where students can study for a foundation degree at the same time as working and gaining that kind of hands-on work experience whilst on that apprenticeship. So increasingly, we're seeing students choose those routes. They're a fantastic route to choose. Very competitive because it's a wonderful thing to manage to win a place on on one of these prestigious apprenticeships. But it's a route that students are interested in, and it's a route that we would thoroughly endorse. It's a good destination. And the final thing is straight into employment. And some students will do this, and that would be employment of all sorts. Including employment that brings with it kind of specialized training. So broadly speaking, it could be employment, it could be apprenticeships, it could be university. But we're very proud of the fact that huge numbers of our students go on to get the very thing that they wanted. I think that's the key. You've got this choice, this huge amount of choice. You'll get a lot of direction, a lot of advice on how to kind of refine that and hone that down to the thing that you're interested in. And our students are incredibly successful. Once they've decided what it is that they'd like to do, they're incredibly successful at achieving their goals and winning that place at university or that job or that apprenticeship.
Okay. Thank you. There's a few questions about sort of like the structure of the college day and lessons. So thank you, Luke, Emily-Ann, and Jack and Samuel. Basically, obviously, the timetable is very different to your school timetable in that in amongst your lessons. So lessons, you do have 4 lessons in each subject, totaling 5 hours a week, which is quite a generous amount of time if you're given to subjects, because we think that's obviously really important. You also do have a progress tutor, and you will also have a guidance director, which is a bit like a head of year. And you will also have tutorials, 2 tutorials a week with your progress tutor so that they can support you and get to know you as an individual. But within the week, there are also some gaps that you perhaps do not have at school at the moment. And those gaps, well, we tend to maybe call them study periods. Some students call them study periods, some call them free periods, which is fine, because they're there really for you to use and for you to manage. Because coming to college is a bit of that step, isn't it, towards either going to university or into employment or apprenticeships, as Tim has said. And it's about working with you and maybe taking a little bit more responsibility for your free time. So a number of students use those periods to work in the library, or they want to do a bit more in their art, so in the art department or in the media department, or they're rehearsing for a performance for popular music. So they will often use it. But you know, you don't have to. If you didn't have a lesson 1, you might want to come in a little bit later, or you could leave a little bit earlier. And if you prefer to work sort of at home, if that works better for you, or there might be times in the day when a couple of you and your friends have a break together, and it's perfectly fine to go upstairs to our Costa coffee and have a coffee and a chat. And students are great, you know, they'll manage that. They often will work in the common room and they combine their sort of socializing with work as well. So it is very much the culture is that we work with you and you take a bit more responsibility about managing your own time and your experiences. And that's, you know, one of the strengths really, I think, of a sixth form college is that it helps you then move on to the next stage of your life with there's a bit more of those independent skills. Okay. And then to answer the question about Breakfast Club, yes, our kind of canteen, our servery and the Costa Coffee is open early, so that acts as a bit of a breakfast club as well. A couple of questions about how many extracurricular activities, and if we do Duke of Edinburgh, we do the Duke of Edinburgh, and we have such a range. We've got about over 60 extracurricular kind of groups and societies for you to be involved in, so there'll be something for everyone. And there's no limit on the number you can take. You join where you feel that you want, and then how you can manage that with your studies. But we certainly would encourage you to be involved because it's a lovely way to make new friends, etc.
We're saying, isn't it, Laurence, that if there isn't a society or a club or a group that meet to do the thing that you're interested in, you just make that happen. That's fine. And so often we find groups that we endorse. Obviously, we know about the groups and what they're doing, but we find they grow up because of a particular interest at a particular time in something, and we think that's great. It's because it has obviously a developmental dimension where young people are growing and learning about something, but also it has a social dimension, which is really important. So you get to kind of spend some time with people who share an interest in whatever. So if the club doesn't exist, you make it exist, and we're fine with that.
Absolutely. Very recently, we've had students leading on a QE magazine. So they set that up. Students wanted to do things like Amnesty International. So that was set up as well. So there's lots of students actually do a green club. So things that students feel really passionate about. Absolutely. And there'll be somebody else here, I'm sure, with those similar interests will do that with you. I think we're coming slightly towards the end. Please, there's a bit more time if you wanted to ask a few more questions. Should just say, in terms of, Tim mentioned earlier about opportunities to come into college. So I mentioned bridging at the end of June, 28th to the 30th. We hope to do that. We also hope to actually have some open events. So we're planning some open events towards the end of June. So largely when we're able to do so after the sort of the government's roadmap from the 21st of June, when things begin to open up. But also, and that would hopefully include a Saturday as well. So it'll be some evenings, but also a Saturday for those of you who might not be able to come on an evening. But then also we're hoping to do some tours to come around the college. So some individual tours where a member of staff will take a family around so that you can again see the college for yourselves. Again, it might well be that we might have to obviously do that as a ticketed sort of event. So again, it will be really helpful for us to have your details, and the best way to do that is if you wanted to apply. Again, it's through the QE website. Again, you're not making any commitments because obviously you don't make your final decision until after your GCSE results are known, but it will be helpful then to facilitate that process of booking in for tours and the open events. Okay. Just have a little look. Yeah, there's something about offering work experience support to students. So Tim, I don't know if you want to say a bit about work experience.
Yeah, it's an area that we're expanding actually all the time. We now have a full-time work experience coordinator who is there to make sure that any students who wish to access work experience are given that opportunity, because obviously it's a really important thing. There's a small number of courses that we have here where that would be integral to the course structure. For the majority of students, it's loads and loads of opportunities being advertised to them. But conversely, if you don't see an opportunity advertised in an area that you're interested in, you can go along and see the work experience coordinator. You can talk to her, you can explain what you'd like, and it's her job to go and work with you on finding a suitable work experience for you. So it's something that we're very, very keen to keep expanding and to keep working on actually. I'm a bit conscious of the time now, so it's worth saying there's loads of good questions I know coming through. There are lots of things we can do with those questions. We are going to go into another couple of sessions now, and you're more than welcome to join us. They might be a little bit repetitive, I'm afraid, but you're more than welcome to do that. You're also welcome, if you want to, stick them on an email and just email them to the main college inquiries address, and we will get back to you and we will answer them. Particularly if you put them for Laurence's attention, and then he can get back to you, very, very quickly, I'm sure. You can ring us up, and you can genuinely just ring up me, Laurence, that's fine, just ask for us. We're always happy to talk to you and answer any of those questions. So there's lots of things that you can do, but I think the best thing of all, take those opportunities that Laurence has just told you about, try to get into the college, because there's nothing quite like meeting the people for real, having a look round the place that will be your college, and getting a feel for the kind of life that you'd have here. I think, just judging by the time, Laurence, it's probably unfortunately time that we need to wrap this meeting up. So from me, I'd just like to say I hope you found it useful. I'm sorry we've not been able to cover all of the ground that I'm sure we would have all liked to, but we hope you found it useful. It's really useful to us because we'll make sure that we answer lots of these questions in the other kind of information that we put out to people. But it's been great to have the chance to talk to you.
Thank you very much. Good evening.
Thank you.